Hi, this is Joe from Prolific Audio. I'm here going to walk you through our installation video for our 9500 kit for the Jeep JL18 newer. All you need is a number 2 screwdriver, a 10mm socket, and a pry tool. So first we're going to do is stop and take the knee bolster off. So take your pry tool, pull straight off towards you. Everything snaps off with 6 clips. Place that somewhere else. Step 2 would be to take off the instrument panel for the HVAC controls. Same thing, I'd start down here in the corner. Get your finger behind it. I'm not prying against the dash, I'm just pulling on the part with my pry tool. Okay, it's about 8 clips holding that on. Just go ahead and disconnect it, get it out of the way. Now we're going to take the radio out. So we got to take 2 screws out the bottom. Put them in your cup holder so you don't lose them. It's held in by 4 clips. Now you got 4 screws you got to take out to get the radio out. Take the depress clip out. Remove this clip here, you got to push it in here, right there, and it pries up, and you rotate the clip around it, and it comes out. And remove the USB, and the camera cord. Okay. Now we're going to remove this bottom piece here. It's got 1 screw here. Take that out. 4 clips holding in on both sides. Just hold on it. You don't need to unplug any of this. We can just leave that there like that. You'll see here in a few minutes why that is. And we got to take the pillar upholster off. So it comes off with 4 clips as well. Now we're going to take this off. There's 2 10mm screws under here, so we're going to click that off. Same with that. Comes out, also has 1 clip on it there. Thing comes out. Now we're going to remove the glove box. Make sure you open the glove box up. Bar over here on the side. Push up. It comes out. And you push up on the dash right here. On here, releases the clip here, and the whole glove box comes out. Alright, so now we're going to start the installation. While we got the A-pillar and the speaker grill off, we're going to clean the dash with some alcohol down here by the speaker. Get all the dust up. Make sure it's clean so our double stick tape has something to stick to. We're going to start running the mic wire. The mic wire is going to sit up here. You can mount it wherever you'd like. I'm just going to give you an idea where we put ours. It comes with a flat mount that you can double stick tape to as well. I recommend doing that, but we're not going to do this for the purpose of this video. So the kit includes some zip ties. Zip ties, make sure, the reason why we're using the zip ties is because there's 2 bolts that hold this A-pillar on, and we don't want to screw through those when we put our A-pillar back on. So I would use 4 zip ties. Stay away from those screws as much as you can. flush cutters. All right, now we get our GPS antenna. While we're up here, we're going to do that as well. We're also going to tuck this wire behind. For the time being, we're just going to put it in here and lay it on top of the speaker like that. All right, so I'm going to put the A-pillar back on. Pull the microphone out of the way for the time being. Over here on this side. Put it in. I recommend starting the screws by hand so you don't cross thread them. So we generally, like I said, we usually stick the microphone up here with a stick pad. We'll include that with you. The kit, you can do it if you like, but for this purpose, we're just going to mount the antenna like that. Now, since we have our GPS antenna back here, there's double stick tape on the back of it. Since we cleaned the dust off the dash, it'll stick right here in the corner, and it's stuck. All right, and we'll put the grill cover back on. All right, so now we're done with that. All right, now we're going to install our control module, which goes up under the steering column. First, we want to route our ribbon cable over the wire. Be gentle with ribbon cable. It's not very fragile, but we don't want to rip it. Either go straight up. This will eventually be over the heater controls in the back. You won't be able to see it in this video here, but go up, tilt it back over, and come back down. There's two threaded inserts in the metal from the factory. We're going to put our screws in, included with the kit. There's that side. There's that side. Stubby screwdriver. Snug it down. All right, we're going to run our GPS antenna or microphone cable over that we ran earlier. Just take the ends of the cable. Go up over the metal bar. Same with the microphone cable. Sharp metal there, so make sure you don't, they go smoothly, take your time. All right, so you get them like that. What I like to do, the easiest way to do is just start pulling them around your hand. We're gonna leave them about that long, just leave them like that. We'll finish it off when we do the other side real quick. So I squeeze it down in the middle and take your zip tie. And then cut your zip tie. Now we're gonna mount a ribbon cable. So we wanna make sure we don't get this all twisted as we run the cable. So try to run it as flatly as possible so we don't get any kinks in the cable. First step would be to get it up in here, bring it through the push to start hole. Slowly pull it through, make sure it doesn't caught on anything. Okay, now we're going to try to get it up behind this piece of plastic here, in between the metal. It's going to take a couple tries to get it there. But since I have light on the camera, it's going to probably be easier for me. I recommend pointing the camera down there for you as well. The light down there, and then slowly pull that up for the time being. We're gonna put this on top of the dash if it'll stay. Okay. All right, now we're gonna install the wiring harness. This is a Prolific Audio harness. It's all pre-made, everything's soldered, ready to go. It's all plug and play, no wiring has to be done on your part. The stock harness here, we need to find out if it's amplified or not amplified. There are 8 pins here in the bottom right hand corner of the plug. So if all 8 pins are plugged with wires, you are non-amplified. If the middle 2 are missing, you just have 2 on the ends and 2 on this end, that means you're amplified. So in this case, since we have all 8 pins occupied, we are non-amplified. So we're going to take our harnesses, so white goes to white and green goes to green with non-amplified. If it is amplified, you have to switch these around. Green goes to white, white goes to green. That's how it'd be configured if it was amplified, meaning there were no pins in the middle 2 positions, just 2 wires on this side and 2 wires on the other side. But since we are non-amplified, we have to plug it in like this. To run the harness, I'm going to locate this band of Tessa tape right here. We're going to squish it a little bit. We're going to put it in this crack. It looks like it's much tighter than it looks, but once it gets in there, it slides in there just fine. Okay. So now we're going to run, you notice this plug here as well. This also gets run up through that same little gap. Okay. For the time being, just get that out of the way. So now we have all these plugs here. We're going to take our module here. It's also included in the kit. These will be bundled up in your cords. One will be an aux jack. The other one's going to be a 4-pin plug. 4-pin plug to 4-pin plug. The aux jack has aux on one side and a 3-pin plug on the other. You're going to plug in the bottom of the module like this. Now we're going to plug in the rest of these harnesses into this module. Green plug goes to green plug. 3-pin black plug goes to 3-pin black plug. This large black plug goes there, and the small black plug goes there. So now we're like this. So all we're going to do now is we're going to take these 2 wires. We're going to go through this hole here. I don't know if you can see it. Just to make sure you see it, we're going to go through here and then out up this hole here. Those 2 wires are ran through there. You're not going to want to see how I went around this harness. You're not going to want to go around the harness like I just did. So make sure you're on the same side of the harness as this one here. Okay, so that's that. We're going to run our antenna wire from up here to down there. You're going to have 2 pieces in your antenna kit. I've already got them taped together, but this is the antenna adapter portion of it. This is what's going to plug into the white harness here. It's going to plug in here, and the other one's going to have a standard Motorola end on it, which is going to plug down and underneath the steering wheel into the radio housing itself. So we have to route this one from up here to down there. Easiest way to do it is pretty much going through the same holes that we just did. Up here for the time being, we are not plugging this in until the very last step, so make sure you don't plug this in yet. So you can get wired in there. Do not need to go under and back up. This time you can just come straight over this step here. So now we need to run all 3 of these through the hole here. So sometimes it's easiest to get one going. Wires out. Now we need to run this one, same thing. Be careful of the ribbon cable. We're not trying to rip the ribbon cable out of the dash. Same thing with this one. And now our main radio harness goes through the same hole. Now down here we have both data cables, our main radio harness, and our antenna wire. We also have to run a video cable down for our backup camera retention harness. We're gonna get to that in 1 minute. So next thing will be the video retention. All right, so since we have all our cords down here now, with the exception of the backup camera retention harness, we're gonna now mount this harness and get this back in place. So this is what plugs in the back of the HVAC controls. Make sure that's out and not tucked down in there. This module here will sit in the dash right back here. Make sure these are above, and then this will snap back in. It's a tight fit, but it does fit. Goes like that. Now you're gonna put your screw back in. Don't forget about that one. It's a number 2 screw. Okay, now we're gonna get on the video retention of the backup camera. All right, so now we're gonna install all our modules underneath the glove box. We gotta run this 4-pin wire here, which plugs into the backup camera retention module box. This wire also plugs into that module box. This was originally plugged in the back of the radio. This was a digital camera. We gotta convert it to analog, which is what the box does. And then we also have to run our data wires, run under the glove box as well. This comes with the kit too. So we're gonna run all 3 of these wires now. Sometimes, depending on what GL or Jeep JL you have, this wire is taped up to this harness way up to the top. You have to get some slack on this wire pretty much all the way down to where it points into the dash. Get as much slack on this wire as you can. So we have to have enough room to mount the module under the glove box. You should get enough slack by just cutting the tape off of there. Just be careful, you don't want to cut anything in the process. So it's easier to do from the passenger side. I recommend from the passenger side, but since the camera's in the way, I'm going to try to do it from the driver's side. You're going to run in between the heater vent, and there's a metal bar in the dash, and it'll pop out underneath the dash. So there's the camera wire. I don't know if you can see it, but there it's at. Now we got to run the 4-pin connector. Well, pulls through. It's there. Now we got to run this cable up, down as well. So the two plugs go down. The 1 plug stays up. So we're going to run that down. Down too. All right, now we're going to mount the camera module. All right, so now we're ready to hook up the control module. Everything's down here. We have our GPS antenna. We have our microphone cord that goes up there to the top of the A-pillar. This is our rear camera cord. It gets ran over the bar, down, through here, and it goes straight to the other side of the center console. Do not go around any bars, just go straight. The wire is very tight. It's got to be, it's almost like the exact length. So make sure you run it over the bar, down, and straight across. So now we're going to start plugging things into the radio itself. We have our radio harness here. We have our 2 control harness from behind the cigarette lighter, the module we mounted earlier. And then our USB. We're not going to go over where we're going to mount the USB. You can pretty much put it wherever you want. We generally put it on the passenger side of the center console, but you can run it, like I said, anywhere you want, so we're not going to go over that. So we're going to start plugging things in. We got our antenna wire, goes in the bottom left-hand corner. Seated. All right, the next thing over is your microphone, which is in a red port. Now we have our data module plug, which is our aux jacks, goes in that black port. Now we have the backup camera, white harness, goes in that lower port. This is our GPS antenna. We're not going to use the blue port at all. Plugs in. Now we have a 4-pin data port. Try to keep your wires going the same direction so you don't have a mess when you're trying to bundle them up. That goes into that port. All right, our main harness goes in the bottom port. And then if you do have a satellite radio module that you're retaining, the satellite radio goes into the right side, right just to the right of the module there, and that's where your satellite radio goes in. And now we're going to plug in the USB. And that goes into there. So now we're going to bundle the wires up, make them look nice. Like I said, you need almost all the slack for the backup camera to go to the right. It goes down, you see how it comes down here. And you'll see when we go to the passenger side of the car where the wire comes over there, and I'll show you how to run it from over there. All right, so let's bundle this up, make it look nice. Try to get everything blanked out right. There it is. Bundle. All right, I'll tuck this up over the bar, or under the bar, I should say. And once again, make sure we get our reverse camera slack pulled down. And that's all there is over here. We'll go to the passenger side now. Now we're over on the passenger side of the vehicle itself. We're going to install our backup control module. It's too large to fit behind the radio, so we have to move it under the passenger side of the dash here. So we've got a 4-pin harness here, which goes in here. The dip switches should all be off. Please do not play with those, just leave those alone. We have our camera from the original OEM camera, and this is the cord that we run. Cord running is right here, so you can tell we come straight over from the driver's side as straight as we can. Don't go around anything if you can, and now we got to run the wire behind the metal bracket, behind this duct, and then straight up. We need all the slack we can have. So that's that. Now we're gonna get ready to install this. If you can get back up in there. This double stick tape here will stick on this flat portion here. So we got to clean that off with the alcohol. And this bar, this part of the flat part here, it's tucked under this harness up here, way up here, so it can't come down. So I'm gonna clean the dash real quick. Peel the double stick tape. Now I'm going to plug our plugs in. I'll put the stock one in first. I'm going to plug our aftermarket one in. Now we're going to tuck this bar up above. We're going to put it as far that direction as we can without totally smashing our composite wire. Now we're going to stick and we're going to probably put a screw in there as well. All right. Now we have our can wire, which is here. I've already got one pre-unloaded because they're kind of hard to get out. Pull one of them out. You'll see there's a little depressed clip here. You got to push in with this flathead screwdriver. Plug one end into here. The other end back into the block. Alright, and make sure these wires are out of the glove box's way. Just make sure they're behind this bar here. You should be fine. Take your glove box. Now reinstall that. This is where we decided to run the USB for the time being. first. Slides in and closes. All right, now we gotta get the radio plugged up so we can now attach the harness. Clicks in. This harness from below goes into this 2-pin plug here. So this may be connected when you get it, unplug them too, and plug the new harness from the CAN connections down low into there. And then that's all the wiring we have to do with the radio itself. Alright, so now we're going to take our fascia mounting hardware. Let's get this out of the way. It's going to be centralized in the back like this. Try to move as much of the cords out of your way as possible. We're just going to dry fit it here, so it's going to sit right here. So now we need to clean these bars off with alcohol. Very important. Get a good bead. Okay. Now we're going to peel the tape. Maybe. So you want to make sure you get this centered on there the first go, so once it sticks, it sticks. There's a little bit of clearance, so you can kind of play with it till you get it in the middle. And once it feels right, you'll feel like it won't go back and forth anymore. And at that point, just push in on the 4 points, and it'll stick to the dash itself. Once it's stuck to the dash, you see it's pretty firm there. Now I gotta get rid of this bar. This is just a shipping bar, so it doesn't break during shipping. Cut that out of the way. All right, so now we're going to assemble the screen. You've got several components of the screen. You have the main screen, you have the mounting plates, the sub-mounting plates, the screen mounting plates, 4 screws of this size, 4 screws of this size, and 4 screws of this size. First thing we have to do is we have to relocate this mount position. So first thing we have to do is undo these 3. You don't need to take them all the way out, you just need to make them loose. And this, once you have them the right looseness, you can locate this tray from the rear position to the front position. So we need to get it locked in that front hole there. Just get them started so the collar hits properly. Don't need to be super tight, just need to be snug. All right, so now we have to move this carrier to the top position. So we gotta take these 4 screws out. I recommend leaving the protective plastic coating on the screen. Make sure you don't scratch it up. So now we're gonna move it to the top. So those top holes line up. Now we're gonna put these screws back in. So again, doesn't have to be super snug. is snug. All right, so now that those in there, we're gonna set that aside for a moment. Now we're gonna create the sub-assembly. So this is the outside. This is what's gonna face the driver and passenger side. This is the back side of the plate. So this is the top. These are notated driver and passenger. So driver and passenger, obviously the driver is gonna go on the driver's side of the vehicle. And the brackets don't go like that. They go in like that. So you're gonna place your holes. We recommend using a hand screwdriver for these instead of a drill so you don't strip them out. Once again, it's just snug, doesn't have to be overly tight. You'll know when it's there. Same at the other side. Now we have that sub-assembly together. So now what we're going to do is take this, slide it through the hole until it gets up to the bottom of these L brackets here, all the way forward. And now we have to mount the screen to that. So that slides in here like this. You'll know when it's seated when all four of these holes line up. Now take your screws. There's 4 mounting locations. I recommend just getting them started first before actually driving them home. Now we can tighten them up. Okay, now we're going to mount the chassis to the subframe. So we're going to line up our holes. Get them started again, like I said, drive them home. All right, and the subassembly is ready to go in the car. All right, so now we're ready to mount the control module into the dash, the 9500. So we need to make sure we have this harness located between these two vents, back close to the wall as possible, or the radio will hit it and won't let the radio go in and slide up in position like we need it to. Make sure these harnesses are laying flat, everything's out of the way as much as possible. We gotta now connect the ribbon cables. This is your ribbon connector. So they're gonna come to you like that. In order to use them, you have to flip these bars up so they're 90 degrees up in the air. Put the ribbon cable in, you have to make sure the blue side is up. That is the side that goes on top. Sure, you'll know when you have it in there because it'll feel snug. And then lock them down like that. Same thing on this one here. Be good to have a friend help you if you can. Try not to have it all curled up on you. So once again, blue is up. Just make sure it's all the way seated in there and flat. And then push the bar down. Now it's ready to go. So now to install the radio, try to keep the ribbon cable from getting bonded up. So try to keep it under the radio. Let's just have it go down. On the back side, you'll see there's a tooth here. There's a hole in the dash this tooth is going to slide into. That's what's going to lock it into the dash. So we're going to hold it down. Start low. We're going to find that hole. Sliding it back and forth. There it is. And now we're going to slide it up into position. At this point, you'll see these two holes down here. They line up. And now place screws into there. Now you can tighten them down. All right. Now the screen is mounted. So now we're ready to put the front fascia back on. Take your lower piece from the kit, slides on here. Look on the back side, the plastic webs and the injection molding slides forward and onto there. Just push it until it stops. Pull your HVAC controls in. Pull your lower push start button in. Slides in. Snap it back in place. Only thing we'll have to do now is put the lower backfill on. There you go. All right, so now you're fully installed. Now we can power it up, do the initialization of it. The demo mode, you want to turn that off. Hit OK, close. We're going to hook up a Bluetooth source to it. Connect. Going to add a new device. Then it'll do your Bluetooth settings on your phone. Looking for a 9500. As soon as you see the 9500, click it. It'll pair up. Go through all the prompts on your phone. Allow. Enable. And now use CarPlay on your phone. All right, now you're fully connected. Just go to home. Steering controls, everything hooked up, working. Start the car, use the backup camera. Reverse. Backup camera shows up. Or enjoy your new radio. Thanks. Prolific Audio.